I've given Dave now my piece of information from the embalmer.
Yeah.
It would be wrong to report it.
Don't report it.
I'm not going to report it. It's too. But Chris Demm says by the time the cock crows, I will.
It will spill from your lips.
It will spill.
It's itching. I'm itching to get it out there.
People are guessing it.
Oh, they're guessing it. Are they right?
Yeah.
Really?
And some are saying the old news.
I figured it was
not to me, but interesting.
Yeah, first I've heard of it. Is it an online thing?
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, people are sending. Here's where it's.
Other embalmers are saying the same?
I don't know if they're embalmers, medical folks, I guess.
Oh, really? Do you trust it or do you think it's wrong? This guy seems like a nice guy. I have no idea.
You seem like a nice guy.
I'm sure he's a nice guy.
I don't know what kind of, I know he's an embalmer. That's all I know about him. And he's got a good forehand.
Will he get your business?
I can't say that. I don't know.
You'll get all our business eventually.
I mean, my wife and I haven't discussed all of that, but anyway, he's reporting something, and Biggie says old news anyway. So I'm not going to reduce my integrity. By reporting that.
I think it's best.
I think you're right.
And at that point, what difference does it make?
Well, I think it makes a difference.
Dave, don't do it.
At that point. Of course not. But if, while we're living, it would make a difference. I mean, they do say that about it. Now I can't talk about it because if you're not going to mention it. Here's what he said. All right, here's what he said.
No, don't do it if you don't think you should do it.
Well, I mean, if it's out there, might as well. I mean, if it's all over the internet, it might as well be said.
Okay.
This is what he told me.
There it is.
Dang it. You did it. I shouldn't, but I have to. He says that in his line of business, he's got to drain blood from everybody's body.
That's right.
He's an embalmer. He says that he's noticed that people who have gotten the COVID vaccine, their blood is thicker and more clotted than people who have not gotten the vaccine. So he says. And he says, of course, that's totally anecdotal, but just in my experience, and these people haven't died of COVID, they just died of whatever, heart attacks or old age or whatever it might be. But he's noticed more clotting. Apparently, it's out on the internet, too.
Yeah.
I don't want people to not get a vaccine because of something like that. That's just what he told me.
Well, that's what I said one side of the audience could say, and one would say, that's lies. That's, who knows?
And Dave says by that point, who cares? But, of course, you do care when you are alive.
I guess you do, but I don't know how, and I don't know the process, but how his job, how he would know if you'd been vaccinated or not.
I think he gets a report.
Really?
The embalmer gets that?
That's what he said. He said he knows which are vaccinated and which are not. And he says he notices that people who have
I remember sending that stuff when our parents passed.
I don't either. I don't know anything about all that.
But I bet it's in your chart.
But they don't get the chart. That's a medical
chart. It's just a funeral home.
I don't know. He told me that he knew who's been vaccinated, who hadn't, and he's noticing more.
Maybe he just notices on the people he
knows are vaccinating. Maybe.
Where do they drain you? Underneath your arm? I always heard that.
Several places, I think. Your neck and maybe where are those big veins? Your thigh?
Well, yeah, but your veins aren't working anymore.
I know, but those are the nice big ones, I think.
To get it out of?
Yeah, those are the main arteries.
I thought it was, to be less obtrusive is like under the arm. But maybe I'm wrong.
I have no idea.
The ones where you bleed out from, the best if you were bleeding out.
Boy, I don't know.
But your heart's not working. You're femoral.
I know, but I think the vein is bigger there, so you can get it out faster. I mean, they might even vacuum it out.
Do you think they roll you up like a toothpaste tube?
Well, make sure you get every little drop out of there.
Like you're emptying out a beach raft?
Yeah. What do they call that? Bladdering? You've got a bladder.
Bladdering.
Yeah.
It never comes out completely, though.
You can't. How frustrating.
Next summer, there's always a little air left.
That's like the last bit of peanut butter in a jar. You can never get
the bit. That's true. You can never get that. Boy, a world without reduced fat peanut butter. I like reduced fat peanut butter.
Is there some in your home now, Kelly?
Yes, there is, and I'm throwing it away when I get home. I read those things.
Will you go after you'll be in the trash before the cock crows.
It's unfortunate to me how every prediction Chris Demm makes is right.
I've been getting cocked all day.
I have been cocked for the last 3 hours. I told him 3 bells ago. 3 hours ago.
You did.
I said, I will not state this because of my journalistic integrity. Chris Demm
it's unsound.
He said, Chris Demm said, before the cock crows. We are 3 hours and 9 minutes later, and I've spilled it.
Yeah.
I've spilled it like coagulated blood all over the place.
That's right.
It's out there. It's clotted blood out there. And here here I have, and the cock hadn't even come close to crowing.
He's got 18 more hours before he crows.
The cock is walking around right now like
He's still stretching.
fine.
cock of the
Well,
walk.
he just cocked a few hours ago.
And the thing is, these facts that you get will lead to people telling you other things that may or may not be true.
Yes.
I mean, you're gonna get inundated with emails that are like, you know what I heard about the vaccine? Your cock falls off.
But
That's how rumors.
And tomorrow you're gonna come in and
Yes.
be like, hey, you know what I heard about the vaccine?
I prefaced it by saying this may not be true. It's completely anecdotal. Even the guy said, look, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I've seen. That's all I've said.
But it comes out like Jell-O.
Look, it's not going to stop me from getting the next one. The next one is, they say, is the best of the bunch. It's the
It
new
can only
one.
get better.
It's the new one.
It's supposed to cover all of them now.
And I'm waiting for that one, which I hear is coming out very soon, and I'm going to get it. I have already decided. I think it works. I'm totally in favor of it. But I when I heard that, I was like, okay.
I had a friend that got it about 3.5 weeks ago. Never had it, and got it about 3.5 weeks ago. And
COVID or the shot?
COVID.
He got COVID.
And was terribly sick.
Yeah.
Terribly sick. Didn't go to the hospital, but
Right.
was inches away from calling the ambulance.
I mean, right. You still
And
Did you
had
bounce
all-
him off a wall?
Had all the shots.
Did you bounce him off a wall? See if he...
he had had the vaccines and everything. He had the boosters and all.
Yeah, he's a firefighter. Yeah. He's
Well,
got all
this
that
the new variant, it seems to be more vaccine resistant, and that's why I'm going to get this new vaccine when it comes out. I've already said. I told my embalmer friend, I don't care,
stuff. Really?
so I'm still getting it.
Did he go? Oh shucks.
You drag your sludgy legs
Yeah.
over there.
He said,
I don't care if this thing turns me into Gumby. Hit me with it.
Old Stretch Armstrong.
Sit down, thick blood.
I want so many vaccines that once the embalmer goes to drain me, there's nothing in there. You can't get anything out. I'm just sludge.
You ever cut open Stretch Armstrong?
That's what
It's just a jelly.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to take. It'll be like cranberry sauce out of the can on
Yep.
Thanksgiving.
Man, this guy wouldn't stop getting vaccines.
How many shots?
How many
did he get?
shots did he get?
That's right. That's how much I believe in the vaccine.
How did he die? He sweated to death on a pickleball court.
Listen, I had an emergency. I had to try to get shoes yesterday in an emergency. My shoes were so sweat coated and so stinky.
Yeah.
I called the sporting goods store and said, "What can you fit me with?" And I don't. They
Yeah,
said,
you need to dispose of the other ones.
"You said
you
get
can't
new
get rid
ones."
of the funk.
You said get new ones, and I called the sporting goods store and they didn't have my size. I ran all over town. Nobody had my size.
Yeah, you're gonna have to order them.
I and my wife did. I'm not allowed to order things, but my wife.
Well,
I
that was
told her.
nice of her to break her embargo. Because remember, you weren't allowed to buy anything for a time because of the
Because of the pine straw.
Pine Straw incident.
Did you tell her to buy two?
I told
Pair?
her, yes. I said I have to have these because of the funk in these shoes that I have right now.
You couldn't find your size at all.
Not in those.
Really?
No, not in tennis, actual tennis
Yeah.
shoes. And so I switched to Adidas. That's all I could find online.
Ooh.
I'm off K-Swiss.
Alert! When did the market open? In 10 minutes? Lord.
I'm off.
Ding 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 ding.
I'm off
ding, ding, ding,
K-Swiss.
ding, ding.
I'm on Adidas. And my wife made the order yesterday. Last night I had to wear old shoes. I mean, that's how much. When I put the new ones on, the ones that I have now that are coated with sweat, and my socks immediately were wet. I had to take them off and put on new shoes.
Well, don't they always say, I mean, until your new ones arrive, they runners will say that if you run in the rain, joggers,
Yes.
cram newsprint into your shoes.
Soaks up them.
That they say that soaks up the moisture. I don't know. I've never done it.
Yeah. Maybe.
And most people don't have newspapers anymore.
I do have, I use newspaper to start my fires for my
Oh, yeah. You
And we didn't start the fire.
for my charcoal chimney.
Yeah.
I do have newspaper.
Where do you
for
get the newspapers? You steal them from the grocery store freebies?
No, I bought one about 5 or 6 months ago, and I just
You
take.
should just clean out the racks of the freebies.
Do they have free newspapers at the
Do
grocery
you go to the grocery store?
I don't see free. Oh, you mean like
All kinds of free stuff.
maybe that's what I should do. Yeah, just get
Yeah,
free.
just grab a handful.
Because I spent 75 cents on one, but it's lasted 5 or 6 months.
Sometimes you can walk down here to the corner. There's still some freebies.
A free newspaper. Well, anyway, that was my news. Chris Demm was right. I did point it out before the cock crowed. All of that has happened.
Who was that? Peter in the Bible?
Yeah. Before he denied his savior
3 times
3 times.
before.
3 times
And then
before the cock crowed.
Finally, the cock has crowed around here. And My wife is on high alert.
She should be.
Is she in black?
She's been in black actually about a year. The Queen's health.
Will she pull the children from school if there's a royal funeral, Kelly?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then it'll be God Save the King, because Prince Charles will become King Charles soon after she passes, if she passes.
Is it instantaneous? The crown transfers?
Yes.
It has to.
But,
Yes.
but the ceremony will probably be
6 months to a year later.
really
That long?
Even though he will be king, they'll have to prepare for it, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was a year after her daddy died, Queen
Really?
Elizabeth's dad, before they had the
long?
coronation.
Interesting. This begins a Demm report now on the two guys named Chris Show.
A Florida man named Eric Murda is telling his story to 10 Tampa Bay News. It's an exclusive interview, so we'll give them credit where credit is due. You may not remember his name, but I think we talked about him when his story first broke, and it is a remarkable one. Eric lost an arm to an alligator and then wandered the swamps of Florida for 3 days before he saw another human being.
Armless.
Dangling. The doctors had to amputate what was left of his left arm, but Eric seems to be, honestly, all things considered, in decent spirits.
How can you go 3 days without seeing another human being with your arm dangling? Wouldn't you just bleed to death? Wouldn't you think?
Well, maybe he was so much in shock with loss of blood and lightheaded, you can't travel very far.
Well, I get that, but it seems like you'd bleed out, and you'd pass out and die. But he survived it and told his story.
The alligator took off with most of my arm. It was about down to my elbow, maybe a little bit more, with the bone poking out. A lot of pain the whole 3 days, screaming at the top of my lungs. There's no way this is real. My arm's gone. Like, I don't have an arm anymore. There's no way. I got to be dreaming or something. I came out of the swamp naked with one arm. I was reborn for a reason. I believe that is to motivate other people.
He's like my wife. Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Now he wants to motivate others.
It does sound like an Andy Dufresne moment, wandering out of the swamps naked with one arm.
That's right.
A rebirth.
That's right. Dangling around him.
He said that he was lost in the woods at Lake Manatee Fish Camp in Mayaca City. When he found the lake, instead of walking around, he said, "I'll swim across." That's what cost him. Ooh. He said the gator got him into a death roll, dragged him under 3 times, and started doing the death roll. And that's when he said, quote, "She took off with my arm."
How much money, you're at a lake in Florida. You don't even know, you're just lost in the woods of Florida, and there's a lake, and you can either go around it, which takes you hours, or somebody says,
100 yards across?
100 yards across for $1 million. I think, honestly, if you swam that 100 times, you only get attacked by a gator once.
I don't think you'd even be attacked once. Gators don't want to mess with you.
Right, exactly.
And, I think it's big news when it happens.
Of course.
But let me say this, as much as I'm in Florida, one thing they repeat down there over and over is if it's water, there's a gator in it.
Yes.
But, again, I think you'd make it across fine.
You do.
99.999% of the time.
So if I offer you $1 million to swim across, you'd do it?
Yeah.
I would too. For $1 million, I would go
right there across Lake Okeechobee or whatever.
I would. If 100 yards, swim across. I'd be.
People go swimming in lakes in Florida all the time. There's plenty of boats and pontoon boats. And by the way, my aunt had a boat we go out on all the time.
Well, boats to me,
boats are different. Now, swimming,
whole different.
But I'm saying is, it didn't keep us. You'd pass the gators in the lakes
you'd see them.
You'd jump in the water still and swim.
Whoo! You did that?
When I was little, yeah. We'd swim in the Florida lakes. It wasn't that
Little Biggie.
Yes, you'd see the gator. Well, as you're going out, you'd see gators kind of along the land. Yeah, but I think down there, it's more just kind of accepted that.
Well,
don't you just live with the risk, like going in the water in the beach?
Don't you think
they really don't want to mess with you?
When you're in the most danger, aren't you right next to the bank? Well, don't you think once you got a few feet out and we're swimming
across
they
want to do, that's why you hear people's little dogs getting snatched.
Yes.
Because they want to come up and they don't want to mess with you.
The bigger.
Yeah.
But I think if I were going to swim across a lake for $1 million, I would be worried at the very beginning and the very end.
Yeah.
In the middle, I'd be like, all right.
Backstroke, floating a little bit.
Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And kick that kick in.
Yeah, no problem.
You got to finish strong.
No problem. But that last, once I got toward land, I'm like, oh boy, let's just get where I'm going and get out of there.
And of course, it's going to depend on what you look like swimming across to the gator.
Well,
you would look big, and I think it'd size you up and say,
Gator.
Yeah.
I think it's another gator.
Mm-hmm. I'm working on my body.
Well, me too, but I'm just saying, we as adults, I think it would size up. And most depends on how fast you're moving.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now they're
I mean, now I'm going to be moving across that water. I'm not going to be floating.
Hitting that, right?
What is this, the ocean?
I'm not going to. That's too big for me. I can't get my lips around that.
Mess around with it.
way.
Ain't no way I can eat something that big.
I would do it. I would do it.
Alligator.
I wouldn't do it, and it's not about they don't want
wouldn't
to.
do
They
it.
don't want to mess with you. Of course, they don't want to mess with you. They have to because it's in their nature when they've got eggs or babies
Right.
or they're starving and there's nothing to eat. Then they will attack. They may not kill you.
Right.
They're
But
gonna
they'll
come get
well,
you.
this guy didn't get killed. If you were going across, so what percentage then? If you got a lake that's 100 yards, if I'm going across it, what percentage chance you think it is I'm going to be attacked?
It's a guarantee that there's
Let's say there's gators in there.
okay.
Yeah.
I would say probably at least 20%.
Oh,
of
you
the time.
think so?
20%.
Really? Really?
I think so.
Okay.
That's not what Little Biggie said.
No,
I don't.
he's done it. He's
Yeah,
done
but
it.
he was little Biggie then.
Yeah.
These alligators, they're different
My
alligators.
butthole would be puckered up, but ties the tin drum.
Well, let me tell you, the other thing in Florida, unless you're in like the Everglades where it's not really controlled, you'd be okay swimming because, they don't let gators get above a certain size in Florida.
They kill him.
Rehome them.
Easy, Quint.
It's South Carolina, frankly, that lets them grow.
I'll catch him. Kill him.
What do they send them to other states? Like that governor of Texas sends the migrants
Bust
up
them
to
to New York.
Bust them to New York. Is that what they're
All I
doing?
know is there's a number you can call if you find, and so, the gators, they'll grow.
Yeah.
So they'll say, oh,
Yeah, they do.
We found a big one. Oh, we'll rehome the big one.
Oh, they rehome the big one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sale on belts over at Macy's.
That's what people thought we did to you earlier this year. They rehomed the big one. Yeah. When you were gone. For like,
In fact, we sent you towards the gators.
It's reached a certain size.
we call the
that's the
number.
truth.
They said they'll rehome it.
Rehome him.
At my second home, every morning I would see a gator outside the window, and down in South Carolina, they let them grow.
They let them grow.
Yeah,
there.
so every morning I would be working out, and I'd see this thing come out of the water that's like 10, 12 feet and just lay on the bank.
That's a smart gator. You fish where the fish are.
And do you think he said to his family, I just saw a guy work it out of here. You're not going to
never going to believe it. But let me say this.
Thanksgiving's come early.
The next day, there's like 4 or 5 gators. Look at this
Yeah,
thing.
down there it's so common though. Like I'd watch golfers play around the gator
Yes.
because it was on a golf course. You'd see the golfers hit up and they'd kind of move the ball farther away, hit and go.
Yeah.
Josh, you wanted to comment on gators in Florida. Would you take $1 million to swim across a lake in Florida?
Yeah, I would do it. P1, by the way, love the show.
Thank you.
But we moved up here in '06 from South Florida. My wife was from Fort Myers. I'm from Fort Lauderdale. And half her family is good old country folks down there who lived by a lot of the lakes and had airboats. And she would tell me stories that when she was a little kid, that side of the family would take her and the other kids on boogie boards behind the back of the airboats on the lakes, and they'd see the gators on the banks, wouldn't even think anything of it. They'd play a game where they'd try to throw the person off the boogie board. And yeah, to this day, she says, I can't believe we did that. But I guess when you're a kid, you don't know any better. But living living down there in South Florida, I guess if you're from that area, you don't think twice about it. You don't really pay attention to it.
Wow.
That does back up Biggie's story.
It does.
And a lot when you're on a boogie board, a lot of you's in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly
a good
right.
bit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh, and welcome.
Yes.
We appreciate you listening.